This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and we are here at my house. You see my garden and my yard behind me. This is John Kohler from OK Raw, and he has discount juicers, and he has Growing Your Greens. John's channels are amazing on YouTube, and I watch them all the time. I just bought a juicer. I've been juicing a lot, as you know, on this channel, and I just bought a juicer, a newer juicer, which I'm going to be talking about in the future. A really expensive juicer, and I'm really into juicing. But before I bought this juicer, and what convinced me to upgrade was John's great channel on juicing. I mean, before John, I think, was doing the Growing Your Green channel and everything, he had a channel on juices where he compares other juicers. I don't know where he gets all these juicers, but he's the only person I know that will take like every juicer on the market that you can imagine, and he actually compares the juices and does juicing demos and everything else. He even went to the factories in Korea and showed them making the juicers. So I want to recommend his raw food channel. It's really wonderful, and I want to recommend his Growing Your Greens channel. But if you're in the market for a juicer, or if you just want to learn more about juicing, you got to check out his channel, Discount Juices. So John, say hello to the Raw Life Health Show.
Hi, Raw Life people. Hope you guys are juicing, because it's one of the healthiest things you guys can do. It's actually my gateway drug, I say that in a nice way, to actually eat more fruits and vegetables. And most Americans don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, and juicing is the best way you could basically condense like 5 pounds of carrots into, just 5 cups of juice. Actually, that's what I did today in Paul's juicer.
Yes. John's been a friend of mine for many, many years. We both started the raw food diet around the same time, and we both had a disease and overcame the disease and got into the raw foods. And juicing is so important. One of the things for me is like not overeating. And I know even on raw food I can overeat because it just tastes so good. So eating less, I want to make sure I'm getting the nutrients I need. And growing my food is essential to getting nutrients from the food, but just getting a lot in a smaller form, and juicing is so helpful. I have some questions that people are going to want to know.
All right.
One of the things John's famous for saying is, well, here are these two juices. This one is the worst, and this one is like amazing. But whatever your situation is, use the one that's best for you, or something like that. So what is overall the best juicer? Like if somebody can only buy one juicer, I know it depends on money and their situation, but forget about money for a second. What's the best juicer you have found that's best for somebody?
I don't want to say like buy this, it's the best, because it depends on your situation. Like if I ask you, Paul, what's the best pair of shoes? Well, are you going to go running? Are you going to go hiking? Are you going to go to the beach and you need flip-flops? Are you going to go to somebody's wedding and you have some nice tuxedo shoes, so you're dressed up and you're not wearing tennis shoes? I mean, it's kind of like that.
Well, if somebody has, let's say, $200 to spend, what 3 juices you'd recommend?
$200?
Yeah, $300.
Oh, 300. 300 is easier. So, I mean, unfortunately, like a lot of the good juicers are more expensive, right? And I mean, you guys, I don't have to tell you guys get what you pay for. I mean, you could buy a cheap, inexpensive, slow juicer on Amazon for $40 to $50. Now, they're made in China. They may have BPA in the plastic. They may not last long. They might not have any warranty whatsoever. You might not be able to get parts for them if it breaks. And it's basically a disposable juicer. I don't want you guys to dispose of anything. I want you guys to actually buy products that are going to last a while, so you're not contributing to all this landfill waste out there, right? And so, I mean, some of the juicers I sell, Paul, have like the one you just bought, 15-year warranty. I mean, Paul's probably not ever going to have to buy another juicer for the rest of his life.
Yes, yes. So what makes a good juicer or a bad juicer? What is it? It's the quality of the juice we know, but what makes a juicer? I remember when I was young, I had a really old juicer with a high-speed motor when I first got into this, and now my juicer's like squeezing out vegetables. Give people some tips to look for, like what makes a good juicer when we say good and bad.
So sure. So what I'm going to say is this is my definition of a good juicer, right? So for me, one of the things about a good juicer is that it actually maximizes and keeps the most amount of nutrition, right? Like you had, and I started out with too, a high-speed juicer. This is what was available back in the 1990s, right? High-speed juicers, and if you go to a department store, that's what they sell. They sell the high-speed juicers. These are very inexpensive to make. And then they sell them, and yeah, hey, juicing even with a high-speed juicer is better than drinking a soda and many of the other processed foods, junk foods, and animal foods that people normally eat. But, if you're going to take the time to juice, why not use a good juicer, what I call a slow juicer, to maximize the amounts of nutrition in there, so it'll give your body, especially if many people get into juicing for whether it's weight loss or trying to heal, health situation, why not give your body every possible advantage? So for that reason, actually, I do only recommend people buy the slow juicers. I don't recommend the fast juicers unless you will not juice otherwise, right? That's number one. Number two, what's important for many people is the yield. And that's where we run into the problems, Paul, because every different style of juicer will juice certain produce items better, more effectively, or less effectively. So like the kind of juicer you bought, like if Paul said, John, all I want to juice is pineapple, I love pineapple juice, and that'll get me off from drinking soda, great, hey. But I wouldn't recommend the juicer Paul bought for pineapple, because you could juice pineapple in there straight and it's going to back up, it's going to clog, and you're going to call me and you're going to say, John, that's a terrible juicer. I don't know why you sold it to me. You called it the best in Paul's video. And so that being said, I could sell you an Omega VSJ 843. That's the juicer I use. And it's great. It juices pineapple great. But, so every juicer has its pros and cons. Like the juicer Paul got, the Green Star Pro, that's the best juicer. I mean, I tested it against like a Norwalk style juicer, a hydraulic press. It actually, in my test, and although I may say that the press cloth leaked in the 2-stage juicer, it got more yield. And even after I pressed the leaked pulp from the other juicer, it still made more. So not only can it make more yield, and of course this depends on what you're juicing. Like if you're juicing pineapple in the Norwalk style juicer or 2-stage, it's going to get more yield than the Green Star, because the Green Star won't really do pineapple straight. That being said, if you're juicing pineapple with carrots, so you do carrot pineapple juice, put a piece of pineapple, put a piece of carrot, it's going to work beautifully. Just the difference of some hard fiber makes the Green Star Elite work really well. And the other thing is, the Green Star company is the only company to actually have documented, research to show that their machine makes the highest nutrient quality, even over and above the Norwalk juicers, right? And you might see many companies advertise a slow juicer, and they say, oh, you could store our juice for 3 days. If it's made with a slow juicer. And I asked all the companies, where do you get, how do you know it's 3 days? Like, oh, the other company did the testing, and we're a slow juicer, so we're saying the same thing. But that may not be true. The Green Star Pro and Elite has special technology in there, far infrared and magnetics, that may help pull nutrients out and may help stabilize the juice and keep it fresher longer. I'm not like a mad scientist and don't know the total stuff, but according to testing I've seen, that seems legit. And according to when I juice in that juicer and store it, it tastes fresher, it tastes better, and you get more yield.
Yeah, what do you say to people, no matter what kind of juice we have? Some people say, well, I can't juice because it's just too much time, it's too time consuming. I mean, I juice, and I have a juicer that you and other people say it takes a lot of time to clean, and take it. I might not clean it as well as some other people, but what do you say to people that say it takes too much time? Because I've timed myself, and I mean, even on a slow day, and I clean it really well, it still takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes to clean it. It's not a big deal to just scrub it up and clean it. So what do you say to people that say it takes too much time to clean it?
So I say to people, like, how much is your health worth to you, right? Do you want to take time to do the right things, or do you want to just go through the drive-through at McDonald's, which you're waiting in line, mind you, because it's so busy there, to get food and eat that's going to negatively impact your future health, your future children, if you choose to have any? It's going to, in fact, basically affect every aspect of your life. Oh, I got to go to the job, John. I don't have time to make juice. Okay, you're going to go to your job, but what if you can't work as long because you get tired earlier because you're eating fast food and you're not really truly feeding your body with health foods? I mean, I have a video, the world's easiest juicer to clean. Well, actually, the world's easiest juicer is actually your teeth. If we chewed everything into a mush, and actually Paul had a video on this, wise man right here. Our best juices are our teeth, but unfortunately most people don't take the time to chew, and especially if you're busy, don't have time to juice, you definitely don't have time to chew, because sometimes I eat dinner, it takes me an hour or two to eat my food, because of one bite at a time, chew it into a mush. That's why we feed babies baby food, and that's why I like juicing so much, because actually even if I have to spend time cutting the produce, juicing it, when I got the juice, you want to swish it around in your mouth and not just glug it down really fast. It actually saved me time from eating the leafy greens and the produce that's actually really hard to digest unless you're chewing properly. But, I have a video where I show there's a juicer that took me 80 seconds to clean. It might not take you 80 seconds. Maybe it might take you 90 seconds or 2 minutes. But it's really incredibly easy. So, I mean, that it should just not be a stumbling block. It all depends on your priorities, your goals, and what's important to you, right? If health is important to you, one of the things I think everybody on the planet should be doing is juicing.
Here's one of the most important questions I have for you, and people need to know this. I know the answer, but people don't. Because of infomercials out now, people see these blenders on the internet, and they go, oh, I juice all the time, and then they tell me they use a blender or something. And I say, well, that's not juicing, that's blending, and there's a difference. So explain to people briefly the difference between getting something like these blenders that are served on these infomercials and a juicer, like blending and juicing, and why they should do one versus the other.
Yeah, so there's a famous infomercial salesman actually out there, and he exclaims that this unit, this machine, is not a juicer. It's not a blender. It's something totally different. And really what it is It's actually just a really high power blender that actually is not like a household blender that you'd buy for $25. It's a high power blender like a Vitamix or like a Blendtec or even like a NutriBullet. Basically, they say those machines basically explode the nutrients and the fiber and turn it inside out so you can actually get the nutrients from it, right? And it's good to be able to actually break open those cell walls, because actually that's what our teeth do. But the challenge here is our teeth don't run at 20,000 or 30,000 RPMs. That's revolutions per minute. We actually work really slowly. We're more like a mortar and pestle, actually. That's kind of like what our teeth are, right? And so when we chew things up at a slow pace, right, we maximize nutrition because we're not rapidly oxidizing. And when you blend something up, not only are you keeping the fiber, which can be a big problem for many people. I know Paul had some challenges with some intestinal stomach things, and he really his body couldn't accept fiber, and most people, especially if they're not used to eating fiber, react negatively against fiber, and it could cause a lot of challenges, let's put it that way. And a lot of people's digestive systems are maybe not that strong as they should be because they've been eating the food so many years. And by simply removing the fiber is what a juice does, but when you blend it, you blend up all the fiber, and it might cut it into small little pieces. You're keeping all the soluble and insoluble fiber in a blended mixture. Now, when you're juicing, you're actually getting rid of the insoluble fiber, but you're keeping the soluble fiber. Soluble, what does that mean? That means dissolves in water. So even when you juice carrots, for example, carrots are approximately 48% soluble fiber to 52% insoluble fiber. So even when you juice carrots, you get approximately, and this depends on the juicer and all this stuff, approximately 50% of the fiber still in there. So you're still getting some fiber, right? Just not all of it. And instead of eating the carrot pulp for fiber, I would actually rather have somebody grind up some flax seeds for the fiber, because that's a much better source of fiber as well as other nutrients. Now, the other thing that people don't realize is when they make a blended smoothie, they're like, but John, I got the whole food in there. I got 1 pound of carrots made into a carrot mush or a carrot smoothie, whatever you want to call it, right? And the thing they don't realize is that it's been rapidly oxidized because it's running at a high speed, number one. And number two, when you blend up a pound of carrots, you have a pound of blended carrots or baby food or mush or whatever. So like when I juice up a pound of carrots, I get only 8 ounces of juice. So that's like literally carrots concentrated without the fiber that my body has a hard time digesting, especially if you're not used to it. And in addition, they now have proven scientific studies, that is journal published, showing the difference between a high-speed juicer, a low-speed juicer, and actually blending. And in this study, and I could give Paul the link, you could put it down below, but in this study, they show that, when you extract broccoli, for example, and that's what they use in the study, with these 3 methods, they show the amount of polyphenol content in there, which is actually the antioxidant content, and these are potentially some of the disease-fighting, compounds in the broccoli. They're more in a slow juicer than either high-speed juicing or the blending, right? And that's really good and all, because you can see there's more. But what they did, they took it even to the next level, right? They took the juice that they made in the slow juicer, the fast juicer, and the blender, and they put it in little petri dishes with active cancer cells. This is really cool stuff. And so they found out that, basically overall the slow juicer kicked ass and inhibited cancer growth more than anything else. That being said, there was a situation where one of the cancers actually responded better to like the blender or the high-speed juicer than the slow juicer. So, it's not clear, cut, and dry on every type of cancer, but overall, the slow juicer, had a much better cancer inhibition rate according to the study.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is John and I both know somebody who made popular the green smoothie movement, which is just adding greens to smoothies. And I think if somebody needs to have a smoothie to get your greens in, blending is wonderful to do that. So I'm all in favor of that. I know you are too. It's better to have a blended healthy food than not have a healthy food at all. So if it's not palatable enough in eating it, blending it is great if you're choosing not to juice it for whatever reason. So tell everybody again your website, and how long have you had this website out now for? Because you got like over 1,000 videos on this website, I think.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, my website for the juicers is discountjuicers.com. I've been selling juicers online, I think, since like 1998 or something like that. So like almost 20 years now. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/rawfoods, where actually I have all my videos on the juicers and comparing them, even expensive ones to cheap ones, so you guys can see the differences and choose the right one for you based on your specific needs. Over 500 episodes on that YouTube channel right there. And Paul, before we go, I do want to mention, just this year, the new vacuum blenders have been released into the market, right? One is currently out. It's the TriBest DynaPro vacuum blender, and the vacuum blending changes the blending game because although it doesn't allow you to concentrate the amount of produce you're eating, it does significantly reduce the oxidative damage that's happening to the food when you're processing it. So I won't get into too much of that, but I will say this: like if you blend like a blueberry smoothie, for example, in a Vitamix, or you blend a blueberry smoothie, same exact ingredients in a vacuum blender. In the vacuum blender, even though you use the same exact ingredients, they've done tests in Japan, and this is where the vacuum blending technology was invented. They've done tests in Japan to show that you'll have 2.5 times more of the polyphenol content in the vacuum blended smoothie than in the standard smoothie. And this is just amazing. What if that 2.5 times of polyphenols is the amount you need to overcome your disease situation or to be healthier, right? And so if you are going to blend, by all means, get a vacuum blender, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that. You know, I have another video because the thing about me is I tell it like it is, and I try to always save you guys money when I can. And, you know, when I knew about the vacuum blenders, I didn't want to use a Vitamix or any standard blender anymore. But the problem was the vacuum blenders weren't available to me because I got to see them in advance before they came out on the market, and they were still making them better. So I figured out how to make a NutriBullet that you could buy on an infomercial at Costco or Target or Walmart. You could turn it into your own vacuum blender at home for just $20. So, you know, I have a video online, a $20 NutriBullet hack, so you could get, you know, more nutrition. And so look up NutriBullet hack on YouTube, so you could turn your NutriBullet into a vacuum blender. And if you are going to blend, which I'm still not a fan of overall, once again, it's like Paul said, it's better than not doing anything. If you got to blend to get your greens in, vacuum blending is a heck of a lot better than, you know, just standard blending.
Can you turn any blender into a vacuum blender or just a NutriBullet?
Yeah, so I mean, I've made a video how to turn a NutriBullet because it's extremely easy, and I've tried to convert some other ones, and I mean, it can be done. It could just be a lot more difficult. I mean, just with a drill and this $20 thing you could buy from Amazon, you could turn a NutriBullet into the vacuum blender. Other blenders, if you're crafty and into and being handy and all this stuff and fabrication and have a 3D printer, you could turn any blender basically into a vacuum blender.
Very good, very good. I want everybody to check out John's channel. I don't even need a juicer, and I just like to watch his comparisons just to see which juices are better and why. And he always gives information like why he's doing it. He gives information about just helpful information in general that I use for my diet and my health overall. And his raw food channel and his growing your green channels is a must. I mean, even before I had a garden here, I was watching it just because it was so intriguing. But the information is excellent. It's the best gardening channel out there. People will agree. That's why there's so many viewers. And he's living the life. He's healthy. He's not just doing this channel. He's living it. He juices a lot, blends, and he also gardens. He definitely gardens. I've had a bunch of videos with him on my website. Check that out on my website. And anything else you want to say before we close, John?
I mean, I really want you guys to take responsibility, right? Responsibility for your health, however that means to you. I mean, whether that if you want to go to the extra mile and start growing your own food and take responsibility even for the food you eat, but, you know, you got to start getting more fresh fruits and fresh vegetables in you, whether that means by just chewing them up and taking your time, or whether that means by juicing them, which in my opinion is the best, or vacuum blending, which is probably second best, or even standard blending. If you can't afford anything, you could be blending green smoothies in a $20 blender from Walmart, right? There are no excuses. You just need to get the fruits and vegetables. I mean, you could even go out and forage wild weeds that are edible and make sure you know which ones you're eating before you do that. But dandelions, right? They pop up everywhere. Totally edible, one of the most healing foods. So there's so many options available to you guys. So don't ever be closed-minded. Try to always think of what I call possibility thinking. How can I make this happen? How could I afford that juicer? You might have to look on Craigslist. You know, if you can't buy a new one, buy one on Craigslist. People will buy the expensive juicer. They'll try it for a day or two, and they're not really committed. Like I hope you guys will be. And then they'll sell it for cheap on Craigslist. So find one near you. Start juicing. You'll feel the benefits. And once you get your foot in the door with juicing, you're going to be like, wow, I feel so much better. What else can I do to continue, feeling even better? And that's when you want to follow some of Paul's work. I admire this guy. He's on the right track. He's teaching you guys a lot of good stuff.
All right. Thank you very much, John. Thank you for checking it out. Everybody, put your comments and questions below the video. And until then, everybody, have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.